Well, hello and welcome to another Tech Tuesday. We're so excited to have you here today, whether you've joined us live or you're watching later on YouTube. Today, we're talking about interactive teaching with Canva Whiteboards. And actually, I think that should be plural, whiteboards. So I apologize for that, but we want to thank you for being here. Just a few quick announcements, then we'll just jump right into it. In case this is your first time getting to know us, we are your instructional technology team, technology integration, I should say. We are your technology integration team. Today, I am joined by Marissa Lopez. She is, along with me, an instructional technology coordinator. My name is Josh Voiles. We also have, I'm getting tongue tied today for some reason. Today, we also have with us Alexandria Behil, and she is our MISD computer technician. And I think we also have Isabel Espinoza, who is the director of technology integration. And so, and anyone else who is with us today, feel free to ask any questions or, pop a question into the chat. But that's just a little who we are. We were all teachers, and now we live to help get you guys the resources that you need. So thank you for joining us today. And also, we want you to know that we usually, like once or twice a month, we'll put out an instructional technology newsletter. You can go to midlandisd.net/tech newsletter to check out previous issues or to subscribe for future. Also, you can get SBEC and CPE credit that is available in Eduphoria for today's sessions as well as any future sessions. So if you're a teacher who's looking for some credit to re-up on your certification, or you know someone who is trying to do that, say, hey, come join me. Let's go to some Tech Tuesdays, and you can get credit for being here. Also, you want to join us if you don't have if you haven't already, you want to follow us on X. If you have an X account, I still want to say Twitter, but if you have an X account, look for us at Midland ISD Tech. That's at Midland ISD Tech, and we're going to be posting all of our cool stuff on there. So, without further ado, me and Marissa, I think today we're just going to kind of tag team this today. We're talking about Canva whiteboards, and we're just going to jump over to our Canva whiteboard to show you guys some stuff today. And so, yeah, Marissa, what do we got to start off with today?
Thank you, Josh. We're going to go ahead and just show you how to get to Canva. If you haven't already been to it, you can get to Canva through your class link or through your Google Waffle. So can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. So you can get to whiteboards through these little applications up at the top. All you have to do is click on whiteboard here. And there's lots of other ways to get to it, but that's like the main one. So here's what it looks like. It has, it's basically like an endless whiteboard. You have all this space that you want, and it goes on and on and on forever. So you can zoom in and out and go to the right and left. You have all of these different templates to use. And the cool thing is that if you go here to File, you go to Settings, you can take off these little dots. So if you don't like those dots, you can remove those. But it kind of gives you like a little template to keep everything straight. I'm going to jump over to one that Josh and I already created to kind of show you what we want to teach you about. So here I'm going to go over some of these things and how you can add these to your Canva whiteboard and then share with your students. This first one is basically a screen recording that I took off my computer. So what I did is all I did was click on this little snipping tool, this little scissors down here, and instead of the camera, I went to screen record, okay, and then I press new. And so if you want to take a little screen recording of something for your students, just put whatever space you want to do, and then you would press start. Okay, and then it starts recording what you're doing. You can write, select a pen or write over something. And then when you're ready, press stop on your recording. Okay, and then here I'm going to click save. And I'm just going to save this as a download. Okay, so anytime you take a screen recording, maybe it's a worksheet and you want to show your students how to do it, that's a little tip I would suggest is use the snipping tool. It has a little built-in camera. And how I added this one, all I went is to uploads and I clicked upload file. And then I just chose the screen record, the download that I recorded my screen. Sometimes I click home and go back to downloads. Okay. And well, now I can't find where I saved it. Maybe if you save it better than I did. Here's my recording. And so all you do is just double click that recording and then it pops up on your screen. And this is just something I left for my students to practice. So when they come to this whiteboard, they can see the little recording. Here I'm asking them to go to the pen, grab a tool, change the weight, draw a shape. And with the Canva whiteboards, if your students are drawing shapes, if you hold down the mouse right when you're finished drawing the shape, it'll actually create the perfect circle or perfect triangle. So that was just a little interactive activity that I left for them to do. Okay. Another thing I wanted to show you is this little timer down below. So maybe you do send this link to your students. You can give them 5 minutes to work on something. You can add music or no music. It has some different options. And then you can press play and then you can have them work on the activity for however long you need. But I just wanted to show you the little timer feature in Canva. Okay. And then the next thing I wanted to show you is, let's say you have created a really cool Canva slideshow presentation, and it's basically just a reference tool for them to look at. You can go to projects, and then you can choose any other presentation that you've ever made, and then you can insert it. So for example, this one is one that Josh is going to show us about, but if I wanted to insert this, I can embed the entire design. And when you embed it, see how tiny it is? You kind of have to move it, and then you can drag it and make it as big as you want. But that way, your students have a slideshow to view. I'm just going to throw that one away. But it has all of your 5 pages. And you can embed the entire thing or just one at a time. Okay, so that's kind of how you can embed a slide inside or a slideshow presentation inside a whiteboard. And the next thing I want to show you guys is the sticky notes. So here on the left, you have the elements. And one of the elements is a sticky note. And I went a little too far. Okay, so you have different color sticky notes. So I'm just going to grab a green one. Okay, and look how tiny it is. Okay, so the sticky notes are really cool. What you can do is if you want multiple sticky notes, instead of clicking again, okay, what I would recommend is deleting that one. Well, now it's not going to let me delete it, but okay. If you click on a sticky note, well, this one it will. You can click on these 3 dots, and then you can enable quick flow. So what that'll do is it'll give you some little plus signs, and anywhere you click the plus sign, it'll add a sticky note to that side. That way they're not piled up on top of each other and they're not all small and you have to resize them. And then the best part is once you have, like, let's say this many, if you want to make, let's see, 18 of them, then I would just grab all of these and then I would duplicate this. So now you have more sticky notes. And that way the students can just grab a sticky note and you can make them really fast. But that's one way to make a bunch of sticky notes all aligned really perfectly well. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you were these options that you can send out to your students. That one's going to be also an element, and it's going to be under polls and quizzes. So you have many to choose from. You can click see all, and all you're going to do is add the one you want. So I've added a survey question, just a regular question, and then a yes no question. And when you click on these, if they have these little colors, you can just click the colors you want and change it. So here I have, you know, If you do see the colors, that'll let you change it. If you want to edit the question, you're just going to click edit above, and here's where you can type in your question and your answer choices. And then the check symbol is the one that's going to be correct. And then when your students do respond, just click on the little question here, and then you can click on responses, and it'll tell you who has answered the questions. Okay. And if I'm going too fast, I'm sorry, but we have a lot to cover for the Canva whiteboards. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you was just a simple circle with the text. So you have different shapes. And all I did was take the text box and I put it above the circle. These are really tiny. Okay, and when you're trying to keep these together, you just want to group them. So you click group, so that way your text stays on top of the circle, and that way if you're going to write something, now it's part of it, and you can just edit something there for your students to be. That's just if you want like a little shape and a text box together. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is basically here's a website that I've embedded into my whiteboard. Just maybe you want the students to go to a different activity. All I did was go to the Google Arts and Culture, and I clicked on this Hong Kong one. All you have to do is take the URL and copy that by clicking Control-C, going back to your Canva presentation and clicking somewhere in this white space, and then you're going to just paste it. So with Control-V, and so it just drops in that link here. When your kids are in here, you have some options of sharing this with them where they can edit or just view. So I would recommend to lock this so that none of the students delete it on accident. So you're just going to click and then click on this little lock screen. And that way when they're in here, they don't accidentally delete this hyperlink. But when they click on the link, it will take them to another tab. So just teach them to go back to this whiteboard. That way they can go back and forth between the Canva whiteboard and then the activities that you've assigned to them. Okay, and that was a lot to cover, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Josh.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Marissa. And I probably don't even need to share my screen or anything, right? Because you've already panned over. And since we're sharing this whiteboard, collaborating on it together, similar to the way you would in the classroom, everyone can already see what I'll be doing here. So, and everything that Marissa was just showing is great for teachers, because really what it shows, I think, is that the whiteboard in Canva is really kind of a place where the teacher can almost do anything they need for most days, probably, in terms of getting the classroom to collaborate. The quizzes for getting feedback, or taking just a small assessment, having being able to paste in your slideshow, like, so say if you had some lectures or slideshow presentations that y'all had gone over, the students can have that to reference right there in the whiteboard, and they can even click the arrows to go through the slides. And so I just think that's really cool. So I'm going to show you all just a couple of things just to add on to that. And I'm going to try to get my whiteboard now. I'm going to try to zoom in here a little bit. So the first thing is I kind of left some notes for myself here. And so I wanted to show off some keyboard shortcuts. And actually, thank you to Marissa for these too, because I didn't really know about these until she showed me. But y'all can see what I'm doing, right? So if we just take, we just click, and then I believe for Windows, you would just do the Control. Is that correct, Marissa? So Control S. Oh, just S. So if I click out, I'm not actually highlighting a specific element or anything, but I'm just going to type S on my keyboard. And you'll notice right in the middle, you see this little thing here? It gave me a sticky. So S for sticky note. And just like Marissa had showed with those little 3 dots, I have my little quick flow turned on. And so I have those little plus signs that I can add more and more stickies. But if you wanted just a quick way to add a sticky, you just do type the S key. And like Marissa was saying, you might have to expand some of those. I'm not sure why. We might have started this whiteboard a little zoomed out, and so we're having to kind of stretch everything out. But keep in mind, if you are kind of set up the same way, you might have to expand your element. So now if I could delete it, also you can delete just by highlighting whatever it is you want and doing the backspace key to delete. You can also, say if you move something around and you want to undo that, you can just do Control Z and it'll pop back to where it was. You can also use these arrows up here, the undo or redo arrow, but it's the same thing as the keyboard shortcut. And the next keyboard shortcut is the letter R. So if I just type the letter R, you will see that it gives me a shape. And I guess
a rectangle.
Yeah, I guess R for rectangle, right? And I'm just curious, I didn't write this down as a keyboard shortcut, but if I do C, would that give me a circle? Yes, I think it does. Yep. So C for circle, R for rectangle. I'm going to delete that. Well, sometimes it doesn't want to. And then T, if you just type the letter T, that will give you text, T for text. And so that's a great way to just start out. Let's say you wanted to just start a new text box really quick, and then where you can get to that magic right so that you can generate a quiz or a prompt, or have it write something. That's basically how I did this little text here in my you can't see it because I have it on another tab, but I had this Abraham Lincoln presentation. And so if I actually just scroll through it here, actually, Marissa, you might be able to scroll through that.
I think, Josh, I'm going to stop presenting and you can present, okay, because we can't see like your little 3 dots, like all the little extra features you're doing. So.
Gotcha. That would be good. So yeah, I'll go ahead and present from the way you could see it on mine. I didn't know you couldn't see all that other stuff, so that makes sense. Okay, so now hopefully everyone can see my screen. Okay, so like I was saying, to generate text, Magic Write is really cool. So I've got this other tab here where I had this kind of pre-made Abraham Lincoln slideshow. It just had like 5 slides, and let's say you were teaching about Abraham Lincoln to your students. So basically what I was able to do is I would just do the little T. Well, actually, I think you can only do that on Whiteboard. Oh no, you can do that on any template. Okay, so that still works. So that's great. So you just do your little T, right? And it's just going to give you this sample, your paragraph text. But then you can go and click the 3 dots, and you can use the, next to the 3 dots, you'll click the Magic Write, and you can give it a custom prompt. And basically, I just said, give me some basic biographical information about President Lincoln. And then it gave me this. So I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, all of these images came from the elements area. So I just searched up Abraham Lincoln and used those. So I was able to generate these 5 slides really fast, like probably within 5 minutes. I don't think I spent like 60 seconds, more than 60 seconds on each slide. And so if I come back over to the whiteboard, you can see what I did was, now what Marissa did was she was able to share her whole slideshow. See this slideshow here? She was able to share the whole slideshow with her students. And like she was saying, you can do the arrows and go back and forth in the slideshow. But what I want to show you is something similar that you can do, very similar, but a little different. And you can come over here, I believe, to projects. And since all of the presentations you create are in your projects, that's where you would go. And my computer's taking just being a little slow. So now you can see that's where you'll be able to see all of your presentations. So let's say I wanted to grab the Abraham Lincoln presentation. I just click on it and it still opens up inside of the projects window. And now what I want to do is, so Marissa was showing how you could embed the design. But what I want to do, I just want to choose one slide, because maybe I just want my students to review that one slide for that day, right? And so that's where you can see here, it drops in the slide, okay? And that's actually what I did right here. So that's what that is. Once you drop in a slide, you may want to go and highlight everything. You just draw the purple box around the whole thing, and you just group that together. That way the students can't, actually you might want to lock that. So you see this little lock icon? So that will allow you to lock that into place where no one can move around the elements except for you. But I'm going to go ahead and unlock that. And since I already have that slide on the page, I'll just delete it and show you with the example that I already had here. So basically, what I can do is bring in just that one slide. And so the reason that I like that is because it just, causes them to focus in on that one. And another reason is because now that I have this one slide, I get the text just from that one page instead of the whole slideshow. And all I have to do is highlight the text. So when I highlight the text, it behaves as an element. See how I'm able to move that around? It behaves just the way anything else would do in the whiteboard, in this whiteboard page. And the reason that's important is because I can go over here to the magic tool and I can generate a quiz just from that text. So basically similar to what Marissa was just showing. But I just wanted you to know that you can do that with having one slide from a slideshow. So hopefully that will make it easier. And that's basically how I came up with this quiz. And it says, what major event did Lincoln's assassination follow, impacting his plans for Reconstruction? And it gives the, it actually gave me these choices, but I could always go in there and edit those choices and put in my own questions and choose the right answer and go in and get responses. And so, but I thought the whole idea of just going off of a single slide from your projects was a really cool idea. So a couple more things I want to show you here. I think I've got a couple more minutes. With any element, you are able to draw, I'm not really sure what they're called. I just call them lines. I think they're like connector lines. I know they have like an official name, but I'm not sure what they are. And as you can see here, like it's almost like a flow chart where you're able to connect elements together. So what you would do to get that is you want to come over here to Tools. And Tools is kind of it's kind of an app that is only there in Whiteboards. And so you've got the arrow tool, you can highlight stuff. You've got this little these marker tools, which for me they're kind of hard to use in my honest opinion, unless I'm doing them wrong. But what I really like are these shapes and these lines. And so these are these connecting lines that I was talking about. And so if I just click one, I like to use these curvy ones, but if you just click one, it'll drop one out in the middle of the page. And it's really small once again. So like we had warned earlier, you just want to make for sure that you, you expand that out in case it comes in too small. And so here you can see that's a very thin line. So I'm going to highlight the line, and then you can see it gives me these options up here at the top. I can bring up that line weight, and I can actually do some corner rounding to give it that really cool curvy look. And I can actually do a broken or dashed line, which is really cool. And I can change the color. And if I'm not mistaken, it's going to keep the settings for the rest of the lines based off of whatever color and thickness that you choose prior. So now what I can do is take these cool lines and use them to connect to other elements. If I want the students to go from area to area. Another really cool thing that I like to do is I like to use these shapes for what I like to call sections. Technically, I don't think they're called sections, they're just called shapes. But I like to use them because sometimes what I'll do is I'll put the images and the text inside of those and kind of keep them all in their own section. So what you could do is have these lines leading the student from section to section. And whoops, I accidentally created a new box there. So I just think that's really cool. I can also put a corner rounding, and I can put a border. As you can see, I get those same settings up here at the top for every shape that I click on, and then I can have have this this line going from one section to the next. So pretty cool way to create diagrams or just to lead the student's eye in a certain direction. And similar to sticky notes, when you put a new section or a section shape, you can also turn on that easy flow, and that will give you multiple shapes or sections to work with. And I think it's really cool because when you move them around, they kind of already have those the shapes. When you move them around, they have those connecting lines that go with them already. So I just think that it was really cool. Hopefully, and then unfortunately, when you delete them, you also have to delete the lines. They're kind of like their own element. So, but just hopefully that's a cool something you can use. Another thing I wanted to show you is that I don't think, Marissa, I don't think you covered this, right? Any element, if it's a sticky note, a shape, a section, even the presentation, as long as you are sharing that with your students, they can actually come over and do what's called a comment. So they can leave a comment, and you can actually turn it on to where they can only leave comments. So it just depends on how you're sharing it. But I thought it was really cool because they can type in a comment and leave a comment on what they think, or they could even share a little Bitmoji. If you ask all of your students, hey, I want you to all leave a comment, give me your feedback on what you think about this certain thing. So I could just type in that little speech bubble with the plus and type in, I thought, oops, I don't know how to spell right now, y'all. I thought this was interesting. Right, and so anyone in the whiteboard can do that, and everyone else would be able to see that. They can also add a sticker, which stickers I think are really cool. You see these little side eyes or this thumbs up right here. That's kind of the idea. These stickers I think are a little different, but anyways, I can send in that comment, and now that comment is going to appear, and then the teacher, you can shuttle through on the side each comment one by one and see who left it and where they left it. If you wanted to look at some other just kind of cool stickers, like the little eyes that I have right there, once again, you just come over to the elements, and you can see these are some of the recently used, and my computer's going kind of slow for some reason. But if you scroll down, there's going to be this area that says stickers, and that's basically where I got these little eyes and this little thumbs up. So my computer's not loading those very quick for some reason right now, but that's where you would go to find those. One final thing that I want to show, and I know we're out of time, so if you just give me like a couple of seconds here, I will show you. There's this really cool ability. Now, it's not going to be like Sheets or Excel or anything like that, but it's still really cool in my opinion. You have this ability to use like cells. And so if I could, well, if my computer would load here, I was trying to, so I believe over here, once again, in the tools area, if you go to tools, you'll see right here at the bottom, there's this tool for a table. Actually, tables, that's what it's called, I believe. That's the proper term, is tables. And it's just going really slow, y'all. I apologize. But the idea is here you're able to create these tables, and this is really cool because you can actually, if you click on the three dots, I'm just going to give it a second, hopefully it'll catch up. You click on these three dots, you can see it does give you some options. You can delete a row or add a row. You can size the columns equally. You can size the row to the content or size the columns to the content. You can even merge cells. Right, and so I thought that was pretty cool. You can see here I was actually able to color in one of my cells, but I apologize. This isn't this isn't really my computer's not, it's lagging for some reason. I think it's just because I have so much on this document here, but like if I wanted to merge some of these cells, but you would just go in and see it. I highlighted those three and it merged them all together. And then I could even change the fill color of certain cells. So it's a very basic graphic table that you could use to organize students, organize directions, things like that. And you know, maybe you could have even like a team of students collaborating on a board, on a whiteboard, and have like a scrum table where they can put their names into different parts of the project that have been completed, or what they're working on, or what has been started. So anyways, that's basically all I have for you today. And Marissa, do you think I forgot about anything there?
Yeah, that's the fastest way to share is just grab the link. So click on share, Josh, and you just grab that link and change it from can edit, can view, or comment. And you can send that link to your students in Google Classroom.
Right, and so of course we've got our public view link, which is just for anyone to view, kind of like a website, right? But then you're talking about this copy link, right? Well, above here, above copy link, you will see you can change it sort of like on a Google Doc. You can change it from anyone can edit, comment, or view, right? And you can go back and forth between those right in the middle of the session with your students, right, Marissa? Like if you wanted to make them focus on what you have to say first and then open it up.
Yes, and it'll force them to update, like it'll automatically do it for them.
Absolutely, yes. Awesome. Thank you for reminding me about that, Marissa. And I just want to say thank you once again to everyone who joined us today. And we will see you next time on Tech Tuesday. Thank you for joining us.